Welcome. January 26th. Happy Friday, everybody. This is Working Man Committee. I'm your host, Brandon T. And let's get into it. Stories we're covering today. ABC, Good Morning America, has finally made some moves. Got to watch out for them scammers out there. Click the link in my bio. Well, Adam Schiff, doing too much. Marjorie Taylor Greene, you ever heard of her? Republican side of the House. And our top story today is a disappointing, sir. I'm going to say it's disappointing. I'm a football fan, and I like the Panthers. Panthers fan. So, headline is this. Panthers hire Frank Reich next season as a head coach. Now, so let's give it a little bit of history on my Panthers here. So David Tepper bought the Carolina Panthers from Jerry Richardson. Now Jerry Richardson was forced to sell the team because of some quote unquote inappropriate behaviors and comments he might have said, might have been on a racial nature. So he was forced to sell the team. And billionaire David Tepper bought the team. And David Tepper used to be a minority owner in the, I want to say Pittsburgh Steelers. And so he buys the Panthers and immediately started making his mark. So he buys the Panthers, changes offensive things, bring on all these grand plans, to build a training center and all that stuff and the headquarters for the Panthers in South Carolina. I think it's Spartanburg over there in South Carolina, right across the border from Charlotte. So it's like the same metro area. And so all those plans went to kaput, and they put a kibosh on that. And then so after that, David Tepper puts his mark on the football team, as he says, fires Ron Rivera, a.k.a. Riverboat Ron, and put the interim black coach in for the rest of the season. So fire Ron in the middle of the season, put an interim coach in to take the team to the end of the season, black guy, and brings in Matt Rule, college coach, that's quote unquote a program turnarounder, which he only did at Temple and Baylor, but no national championships. I don't think he won any bowl games. He just went from one 2-win team to made him like 8 wins and so forth. And so, quote unquote, turn him around. So he gave that guy, I think it was a 7-year, $63 million contract. And so he's there for, I want to say 3.5 years, almost 4 years. And he was fired in the middle of the season for going 1-4. And Steve Wilkes was installed as the interim. Do you see the pattern here? The black coaches have been put in interim twice while hiring a white coach. I'm not saying it's racial. I'm just saying, hey, let's look at it. And so Steve Wilkes goes 6-6 for the rest of the season. And let's think about it. So if Matt Rule was not there, and some of these games, between the 4 games you lost, could have won 1 or 2 of those games, the Panthers would have won the NFC South. Because Tampa Bay, it came down to the final game of the season against Tampa Bay, who's going to win the South. If they won one of these games, they'd have won it outright without having to have the playoff game. All right? So we got that. So Steve Wilkes turned the culture of the team around, turned the play of the team around, and so forth. And now let's look at who they hired. They hired Frank Reich. Frank Reich was the Colts head coach. And he was fired middle of the season and for going 3-5-1 after losing to New England. And after that game, they installed Jeff Saturday as head coach. He never coached anything but, I think, a high school team 1 year. So didn't really coach anything. He was an advisor that never showed up. So he was, and I'm not going to say never showed up. He was an advisor that did remote work with the team, of the Colts team, because he played for the Colts for so many years. He played center, so he was snapping the ball and so forth, and they liked his input. And so going forward, so my question is to everybody: how many times have you seen a coach get fired in the middle of the season and get another head coaching job the very next year? I'll wait. Okay, so Frank Reich. So little history on Frank Reich. Frank Reich used to play football. He was a Buffalo's long-term backup to Jim Kelly. So he pretty much played his whole career sitting on the bench watching Jim Kelly play. I mean, Jim Kelly got hurt a few times. He did play some games and so forth. And then when the Panthers came in existence in '95, and Jim Kelly, Frank Reich was our quarterback for a couple games. I think he got hurt, and that was last season playing. Yes. So let's think about why David Tepper might look at Frank Reich overall, right? So Frank Reich was offensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles during their Super Bowl run back in 2017. Nick Foles, remember, beat Brady in the Super Bowl, and so maybe he was like, he told Tepper. I asked him part of that, but we all know the coach at the time. What was the coach's name? Doug. He was down in Jacksonville. Was the one calling plays at that time. But Frank Reich was there. So you take whatever credit being on there, maybe designing scheme and so forth. Who knows? But like I said, they gave him the job, Frank Reich, and like I said, I looked at it this way, right? Disappointment was the first thing I felt when I saw this story yesterday. Disappointment, because what it turns into is you got a black coach, right? You give him an interim job. I know the interim job was trying to get away around the Rooney Rule, saying, hey, I gave a guy a chance. Look at this Rooney Rule, and then can go right around and do what you want to do, and so forth. But it seems to me that you give the guy. You give Steve Wilkes a chance. You see, turn the team all the way around. If he'd had the whole season, we'd have made the playoffs easily. But you then turn and say, you want somebody more defensive minded. My thing is this, David Tepper. I'm a fan of the team, but this is wrong. Absolutely. Steve Wilkes did everything possibly to earn a job. His record was better than. I'm saying again, his record was better than Frank Reich's. Let's go back. Frank Reich. See, Frank Reich's record was 3-5-1, and Wilkes was 6-6 with the quarterback carousel that Matt Rule created. Now with that, he made it that good with that team. We had P.J. Walker quarterback, we had Baker Mayfield and Sam Bradford, and it's all round and round. And he overcame that. The team, him overcame that, but you need more of an offensive guy. Come on, man. I hate to say that race was involved in this, but it seems like it might have could have been. You ain't. How about other offensive coordinator coaches? Eric Bieniemy's out there. Byron Leftwich is out there. Any of those guys could have offensive mind. You got Byron Leftwich just won a Super Bowl a couple years ago with Tom Brady. Eric Bieniemy has got a Super Bowl also with Pat Mahomes. Called in plays. Frank Reich, come on now. You know Frank Reich was not calling no plays in Philly. Cause look what Doug did down in Jacksonville, turning around Trevor Lawrence's career. He was calling plays. So come on, man. That's just like saying the offensive coordinator in the 49ers right now, you go get him because he know what he's doing. Psych. Disrespectful, I say. But our next story. Going to politics on this one. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes. if you don't know her, she's Republican on the Republican side. She's one of those super far right. I think she's a real big Trump supporter. And she says that this is what she did. While I'm telling this story, right here it's gonna be a little montage about her while I'm talking about the story. Go. So Marjorie Taylor Greene put an amendment to bar Biden from selling oil, goes down in a massive bipartisan defeat. Yeah, so everybody just put that down. See, for the last year, President Biden released a record amount of oil out of the petroleum reserves in order to lower the price of gasoline by adding more to the supply. And Marjorie thinks that he did that around the election, and we're trying to move the election around to bring the gas price down so Democrats won't be blamed for high gas prices. Yeah. And so she argued that she wanted to stop him from being able to sell the crude oil supply anywhere, China, anybody that wants oil from the United States. I look at it like this, right? I get her point that she's saying that things were tampered with, you want to say, you know what I'm saying? But I also look at it like this. It's a bit much, Miss Greene. But like I said, a totally bad idea, I say. But funny thing is this. She got 14 votes for her plan, for her amendment, and 418 votes against it. So pretty much everybody besides the people she walked out the hall with, maybe eat lunches with, and so forth, maybe talked to after hours, voted against this. I'm going to say this. Starting to get comical. Like I said, it's on both sides of the aisle. It ain't just one side, both sides. This one's the microphone is on her now, the spotlight is on her, so she's getting more airtime. But hey, the other side doing it too. And speaking of the other side, Adam Schiff is hit with an ethical complaint one day after announcing the Senate campaign using Trump's impeachment video. Yep. Adam Schiff, what are we doing here, buddy? Come on, you know better than this. Now, see, this is the thing. So Adam Schiff was denied to be on the intelligence committee by Speaker of the House. Said, nah, we ain't doing it. You got too much drama with you. We ain't having it. You're not being on that committee anymore. Yep. So Adam decided he wants to run for Senate in his state of California in 2024. And he did this using a video that he showed.
Security concerns after posting on TikTok. Yeah, that's the app closely tied to the Chinese Communist Party and banned on U.S. government devices in at least 30 states.
Hello, I'm Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans.
Joe Concha joins us now.
So he makes his announcement, and he's using his impeachment video. And so that's a violation of the ethics, because you can't use resources you can't use government resources for campaigns. And technically, that's what he did. He used him on the floor of the Senate saying, I need to be here on the Senate while trying to argue to impeach Donald Trump. I think his impeachment was for the Ukraine money or whatever. And he said we can't have that and so forth, and try to, do the round and round about the impeachment. And then it comes out the fact that he didn't turn to use that video. But I think, Adam, if you're on these committees and been in Congress for decades, probably about 20 years in the House, and you not know what the rules and regulations are, Adam, what's going on, buddy? Why? Did nobody in your staff look at this, or anybody that knows you before you all put that the video together? You looked at it and you're like, yeah, I like that. Yeah, let's run that. put together and say, you know what, you can't use that off the government resources. Can't use it for campaigning. Adam, you didn't know that? Come on, Adam. And you want to be in the Senate? Adam. You know you broke the law by doing that. Campaign law. Now let's see what happens to old Adam as this works his way through. Because clearly it's a violation. And Adam, clearly you're wrong. But I get it. You're sick of the House now. You want to be in the Senate. You don't want to have to run every 2 years. You want a 6-year term. You want to be in there talking junk. Adam. Think that might have hurt you, buddy. All right, our next story. Our next story is an interesting story. And I say it by this. If you scroll along the line looking at certain things and then certain people, and then in the old Twitter sphere and all that stuff, and you get on the back door and all that stuff, you would get to the point where you might find a lot of sex workers. Now, you might go in there clicking, and then they might have some booking information. They might have their payment methods in their bios and so forth. And you might be tempted to look at, what you like and want to click on that and send some money over. And that's a gambling chance, whether you are directly talking to somebody or you're not. You could be the woman you're looking at. You could be it could be her, or it could be some fat man behind there trying to scam everybody. I'll tell you about this one. So men seeking services of sex workers keep knocking on the door of a fed-up Texas retiree. Yoo-hoo. And the internet scam has been using the address of Texas retiree to send sex-seeking men to the Pueblo house. Authorities say, looking up the traffic cam. Now, there's all types of things they use to find you and so forth. And so Miss White, 66, says that she's been played by more than a dozen men knocking on her door looking at all hours since April of last year, seeking the latest unwelcome visitors drop. Looking to see the most. So she got people coming to her house since April. And from April to January, knocking on the door at all times of the hour. They done, what I'm saying? So White said the men told her that they paid their money over Venmo. So they Venmo their money over there. So they was in the bio, like, okay, I like this one. Venmo whatever that person asked for. And then the person gave them an address. Today, come see me. My name, they gave different names. So the names that the men were giving was Rhonda, Kelly, Nikki, and others. So they gave all these names that people were looking for going to this old lady house. And like I said, the lady here, she feels very violated. I agree with her. Because what it is, like I said, the men are getting scammed out of the money. And they're getting pointed into a direction. Like I said, this could be a very dangerous situation. Because when you've committed money to it, so you want some type of thing, and so the men could be thinking they get scammed by the person that answers the door. And so you can get all types of stuff. So the camera, like I said, there was a camera just catching. She had a camera mounted, and they're seeing all these different people come constantly in, and so she shared it with the police. And the police got involved, and getting the page. Or I guess they hunted down the page or whoever was scamming the people, and they got that shut down. And like I said, it's very scary. Like I said, she said she's very scared and it's very dangerous. And like I said, it is that way. Like I said, once you pay your money, you know what I'm saying, you're looking for something. And if you don't get it and you feel wrong, people could act any way. Yeah, so like I said, even, and then also, she said some men were looking for drugs also. Yeah. So it just wasn't sex, it was drugs. Yeah, so, this is good. So like I said, so she had one time that men were showing up every 10 to 15 minutes at her house one day. So I guess the scammers were trying to create up this Rhonda character was definitely trying to get paid that day, and they did. So hopefully that, you know what I'm saying, that all that stopped, nothing else will happen out there, and people won't get scammed. Like I said, clicking that link in that bio and sending that money without verifying the person, verifying something. Like I said, man, you gotta do your due diligence. I know you look at that picture and be like, oh, you just feel in your head you want that, and then you send your money over without knowing what's going on. Like I said, you gotta be very vigilant. And then our last story is a story we've been following pretty closely here, and I think this is the last chapter of the story. T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach. I know, like I said, we've been talking about this one a lot, but it's kind of interesting how it played out so publicly. So T.J. Holmes and Amy Robach are both been fired from ABC. So, you know, I remember my prediction in the beginning when this first story broke, T.J. would get fired and Amy would keep her job. And it was almost that way. But it looks like on the surface, after the investigation it would have been that way, but there were some mitigating factors to it. All right? So let's talk about it. So TMZ broke the news that both will receive a payout of their contract. So they're going to get paid the money. So whatever their contract is for how many years it was, they'll just get paid out for it. And I guess that's pretty standard practice to happen and so forth around that time when you're using contracts and so forth. And like I said, so both of them are out. T.J. Holmes 45, Amy Robach at 49. Both, like I said, this story came back in November. So we've been talking about the story for a while. And so what happened under the investigation is they found that TJ was going to get fired for all the fraternizing he was doing. So he was going to be on that way. And then also looking at things, they looked like they found Amy had alcohol in her dressing room, which violates a lot of policies around there. And so it's like I said, it was a debate how the alcohol got to her. If it was gifts by people inside or is it she brought it on. And I do believe, I'm trying to remember if it was Amy Robach that had the issue with drinking before and had to step away. I think she was on 2020 maybe. I think that's her. Might not be her, but I do think it was her that had a drinking problem and she had to go to AA and all that stuff to get cleaned up from it. But it looks like now that they both violated, and so the conclusion of that story, both of them out. So I look at it like this: TJ was definitely shopping at the job, and him and Amy, you know what I'm saying, look like, you know what I'm saying, they both divorced their peoples, and I guess they're trying to be together full time or whatever. I said, I hope it works. I hope it works out for him. I mean, I guess with his contract ending, both of them walk around with a chunk of money. I guess TJ about to be divorced, so he might be giving away some of that chunk of money and so forth. But yeah, I look at it like this though. It ain't, at the end of the day, it ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying, to shop at a job. If y'all looking to meet extra people or so forth, do anything, do it outside the job. There's plenty of places in between. Do it in between if you're gonna do anything like they did. And with that said, happy Friday again to everybody. Like and subscribe. And I'm your host, Brandon T. This has been the Working Man Committee. We will see you Monday. Peace.